Welcome to The Exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I'm about to play you my exit interview with Jimmy, but just want to give you a heads up that my first question gets cut off. And so just wanted to let you know, obviously, my first question, I asked him about his eviction and what he thinks about this move from Mickey. And so when it jumps in, that's what you're going to hear, his answer to that. And please enjoy.
The end. And even still, love Mickey to death and hold nothing against her. But this was a bad move. I mean, Mickey has numbers falling out of the house left and right. And she's setting the other side of the house up for success by letting somebody like me go. And she thinks it's a resume builder. Maybe it is, but they took their opportunity to strike when they had it. You know, being a snake has its downfalls sometimes, and I think I certainly started eating my own tail a little bit. That's for sure.
Jimmy, you talked about possibly, outing some people or calling out some people. Obviously, as fans, we love to see that. Did you think on your way out, okay, maybe I should say this or that, or you just kind of wanted to go?
You know, I think I planted enough seeds before I left to have people going after the people I wanted to take down myself, Morgan and Vince, to name a few. The house was already going for Keanu. I didn't need to plant any of those seeds. At the end of the day, I followed Rachel Reilly's advice and leave classy, not sassy. And I think that's exactly what I did. But I gave them one more sunglasses toss so they could remember me. But yeah, I definitely wanted to take the high road, hug the people who voted to keep me, and head straight out onto that stage to see the audience and Julie Chen.
Yeah. Well, speaking of who kept you, Julie mentioned that Ashley, voted to keep you, but then tried to change it last minute. What is your reaction to that?
I think to know Ashley is to know she's two things, and that's late and indecisive. So the only thing that wouldn't have shocked me if Julie said Ashley was on time to the vote and she made a clear decision. It does not surprise me at all. But bless her heart. That's all I have to say.
Have you seen this photo?
I have. Oh my God, it keeps bringing tears to my eyes for sure. Love Rachel, but Brendan being there for Sean is extra special to me. Sharon, there was a lot. Listen, I have thick skin. I've been through it my whole life. I can deal with whatever America or the world has to say. But something that always weighed on me in the house is I really hope that Sean doesn't have to deal with the brunt of my decisions or actions or words. And I really got vulnerable with Rachel about that at one point. I honestly think I was sobbing at one point about it. And she just grabbed me and she said, listen, if Brendan is seeing that happen, he knows we're close and he's going to reach out to Sean in some way or some form. And to see that picture and almost get the reassurance that there was a support system for Sean while I wasn't there is all I need. Is all I need. And that picture brings me so much joy.
We loved it. We loved it. Speaking of Rachel, we see you the first night. You're like, she's got to go. What is it about Rachel? Because it was really fun seeing you guys like team up.
To know Rachel is to love Rachel. She is the best mom, an incredible player, and an even better friend. And I think the more time I got to spend with Rachel, the more not just did I want to work with her, but the more I wanted to just be besties. Like she is a great time. She's a hoot and a holler. And at the end of the day, she was one of the people I trusted the most in this game. And I always said whoever had week 2 HOH was going to have it easy because Rachel was up on the chopping block and it would have been a smooth HOH. And then I won HOH and had to put up 5 people and didn't consider Rachel once. So I think that really cemented our trust moving forward in the game. And she certainly repaid me for that in the last few moments I had in the house where she was definitely fighting to keep me till the bitter end. And I'll always remember that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your HOH, and I'm sure you've been asked this, but like any regrets there getting out Amy? Like, do you rethink that in your head or you're like, eh?
Who's Amy? I'm kidding. I love Amy. Amy is such a light in this world, and I feel so blessed to know Amy. At the end of the day, if I couldn't get out my targets, I wanted to get out somebody who would put minimal blood on my hands. And frankly, Amy in the house was emotionally unstable. From one minute, she's your best friend. The next minute, she's crying to Vince, telling him to put you on the block. And that's not, I couldn't deal with a variable like that in the house, especially as I was not going to be able to compete for my safety the following week. I knew somebody like Adrian and Will would probably keep me safe if they won. So my goal was to get Amy out of the house once I knew Kelly and Keanu would probably be coming off the block. So no regrets there, but maybe I should have made a bigger move. Maybe I really should have struck Vince, but I do think it was a little early for something like that.
Okay. People want to know like that awkward moment between Ava and Keanu. What was it awkward in person? Like, tell us. It was weird.
It was weird. Keanu is like that. There's a reason many of us in the house do not like him, and it's because he has that sort of abrasive behavior sometimes, I would say it wasn't awkward, but when she was walking up to him swinging that veto, we all thought she was going to deck him in the face with it. Guys, she is from New York, so we don't put anything past her. But one thing about Ava is she stands on business. So I'm excited to see what she's going to do now that I've heard she's HOH this week.
I was gonna say, talk to me like Morgan, maybe? How you feeling about Morgan? I don't know.
At the end of the day, I love Morgan. She is an incredible person and a great friend. But I don't like the way she's playing this game. I think she's overly paranoid, and I think she is playing an interesting game to say the least. I think she's pretty flexible and willing to bend to the whims of people like Zach, which surprises me a little bit. But at the end of the day, Morgan refuses to, in some ways, build relationships with people to avoid suspicion. She can't be in the room with somebody for more than 5-6 minutes without trying to avoid looks. And so I think at the end of the day, that might have been Triple Threat's demise, is the fact that we weren't able to keep hanging out as much as we wanted to because we wanted to avoid being on the block together at all costs. But that came to the benefit of somebody like me and Rachel, who spent so much time together in the house that we really, really allowed us to blossom. And so even if I'm leaving week 4, I'm leaving on a high note with somebody like Rachel, and even with Morgan and Nikki. There's no love lost between them, but I do hope Morgan's quick to follow me out the door. That's my hope.
Do you think you would have been, if it had gotten to the end, toward the end, more loyal to Rachel or Morgan, or like where would you have gone?
If there was a top 4 and I won the final HOH, theoretically there's an additional person in the HOH, which math-wise in my head, I think there's going to be 4 people in this final HOH. If I had to pick somebody to take the top 2, 100% I'd take Rachel. At one point I would have taken Mickey. I was never taking Morgan. At the end of the day, wanted to sit next to somebody I could either beat or be proud losing to. And I would be proud losing to somebody like Mickey. Rachel, at the end of the day, I think if anybody sits next to, they will beat, because I do think the jury is going to be reluctant to give somebody a second crown. But one of the things I told Rachel before I left is if you earn it, they will give it to you. And I told them, make them crown you, is one of the things I told her. Because if she keeps fighting and shows them the type of player she is, at the end of the day, they'll look past the fact that it's a double crown. But if she earns it, she can get it. And it's hers for the taking. Rachel is in a good position to move forward in this game. And so I'm really hoping she steps it up and hopefully has people around her. And hopefully I wasn't too much of a weight on her heel as I was leaving.
Oh no! And now that Ava's a HOH, maybe it's looking up.
No, I think so. I think she has a week of safety with Ava as HOH for sure.
Let's hope. No, but people want to know, Jimmy, would you ever play Big Brother again? Is this something that you enjoy? Did you have fun? Would you go back?
I loved playing Big Brother. It was an absolute dream. Whenever CBS and Big Brother call, I say yes. So they want me back next season. They want me back for an All-Stars. The answer is yes, yes, a million times yes. I will play the show for every summer for the rest of my life because it is a dream come true, and it's always fun to play the game.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Jimmy. I'm really bummed to see you go. And honestly, I was hard on you in the preseason. I'm like, this guy's doing too much, but it was such great television. And just thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a good day.